Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the channel. Enjoy the listening. We thought 12 ships couldn't save a world. Humans proved us dead wrong. Most of the galaxy is familiar with human last stands, their spitting in the eye of fate, and their remarkable nigh impossible fortitude in the crosshairs of truly deadly odds, and the existence of their nearly supernatural abilities to mitigate them. Some call it luck. So it was on the world of Shader Secundus, a world cursed by the worst cosmic luck of a rogue planet on a near-miss course, on course to disrupt the world's orbit and rotation in a matter of weeks. The herbivorous, itinerant, herd-focused, planet-bound species of industrial age tech known as Filori, better known to the human researchers as space camels, were rapidly thrust into galactic contact. Humanity, never to let a tragedy go unmitigated, had broken the communications ban on non-space-faring sentients to reveal the existence of the greater galactic community and the humans' intent to help their people evacuate. This would be challenging. Located at the terminal end of the Orion Arm, these poor souls were as far from aid as one could be without crossing the intergalactic black. In their neighborhood were a few research stations manned by handfuls of Terrans, galactic observatories manned by handfuls of Terrans, and wildcat miners that had the tenacity to mine precious resources, where there would be no aid, no succor, and nobody to miss them back home, but conveniently, no law, manned by handfuls of Terrans. As a nomadic yet technical species, the Phi would set up automated industry, hydroponics, and supply depots along their migration path around their planet. They were itinerant due to the slow rotation of Shader Secundus. One solar cycle of the world was 11 Earth months. Their entire race would plot about the sunset or sunrise zones of their planet, reclaiming their supplies they'd set down or spinning up their industry they had mothballed as they traversed their desolate world. This ebb and flow and deliberate future-proofing had solidified their culture as one both conservative and very, very forward-looking. A well-drilling facility could be built with the conscious acknowledgement that only their grandchildren may drink from it. An ore smelter may only yield sufficient metals after 2 or 3 migration seasons. As such, their decision-making was equally slow. When the humans warned of their impending doom, neither the Sunrise nor Sunset clans could agree on what to do, but the universe decided for them. The rogue planet, identified by the humans, warned by the humans, and most importantly, not stopped by the humans, was the subject of impossibly intractable debate. Some thought it a hoax, others insignificant, and yet more correctly assumed they couldn't plan a single thing before it arrived and its influence felt. Until it loomed large in their skies and panic set in, the researchers nearby that had identified the hazard had not sat idly by. They had sent word to Terra, but so far out in the boonies as they were, it might be months before sufficient aid, manpower, or transport arrived. And so these few far-flung researchers wrangled as many of the Terran presence on the tip of the arm as they could. Promises made, bargains made, oaths and promises of glory were made to keep these people alive until Terra proper could respond. And so 12 Terran vessels arrived in orbit of Shader Secundus, and all told 111 Terrans prepared to try to save an entire race. It was going to be a hell of a few months. Sarah Venkman was the head scientist on observation post Epsilon Omega Omega, the farthest research post Terrans had built on the tippity-tip of the Orion Arm. She was accustomed to parsing data, not riding herd on a bunch of yokels, but as the only Terran around with a genuine officer's commission, she brought this meeting of minds to order. All right, gentlemen, ladies, artificial intelligences, we have 111 staff and 12 vessels to try to save these godforsaken camel folk. The rogue planet interaction tipped their orbit towards their star. They will slowly cook, and not in the tasty brisket fashion, but in the pain-sundry tomato or dried chili fashion, and in a Terran year the planet will no longer fully support life. We have 2 objectives. 1, keep them, or as many as possible, alive until an evac. And 2, somehow get the 2 populations to the same hemisphere alive to get them evac. Terran Command has replied it will take 20 months for an evacuation fleet to arrive in force. I have already been in comms with the local Filori authorities on both sides of the planet. They do not have the means to hold out that long in place, which is about 2 of their local day cycles. I'm told we have 2 AI exploration vessels in this comm. Venkman probed. Her replies were not verbal but textualized on her terminal. Omega Omega Phi Sensor Array 2 and 3, call sign OOPS 2 and 3 reporting. There, while leader sighed, rubbing her already throbbing forehead. Sarah Thomas Venkman hated Terran AI designations. They were often this stupid. Oh, P.S. I need precise gravimetry on the run-in with the rogue planet, deviations, prospective atmospheric impacts, and most important, daily temperature forecasts across the world. I expect a full forecast within the hour. She moved on to the biological allies. The Sunset Clan will have more time and more resources, being on the night side of the planet, but they have made no illusions of their rights to pillage supplies the Sunrise clans may never reach. A grizzled, one-eyed man spoke up, a pirate, no less, and wanted to boot. Grigory One-Eye of the Red Bastard. On my limited honor as a pirate such as it is, my crew would defend such supply depots as we can, being but 25, if we could take what we need in so doing, and a little extra. With little choice in enjoying the initiative, Venkman gave him a provisional go-ahead. Wait for your targets, Gregory, and you may yet get your plunder. We have been advised that each supply dump contains between 50 and 100 Earth tons of food, medicine, and luxuries. Please leave the food and medicine. 4 new voices popped up in the virtual meeting, each clamoring to be heard. Venkman took them all to a side channel and told them all to shut up. What? She bellowed at the noisiest thing she'd heard on her 3-year deployment to the near-silent void. It was the 4 Wildcat mining captains. The first, who looked like he had more teeth than sense, fired up. Hey, Doc. We got all the heavy lift these stinky bastards could need. Why don't we just evac them in the ore holes? Venkman felt another headache coming on. Because Eudor Strawberry, they need to breathe atmo and live above the freezing point of water. And your holes are not only often open to void, but routinely get off-gassed propane snow in the hold. The blue neck withered and retracted his opinion. Raking the blue neck call back into the larger assembly, Venkman laid out the plan. It was stupid, reckless, and very human. I have identified the evac location that will be at midnight when Terran Command arrives with evac. It is currently 30 degrees into daylight and will begin to burn actively around the halfway point to evac. From the gravimetry, atmospheric, and trajectory data our UOPS friends have given me, the evac site will reach approximately 180 degrees Fahrenheit at high noon before evac. This is acceptable for equipment, but not perishables. We can expect to approach the temperature range on the daylight side for the duration until evac. On the night side, in 13 months, the temperatures will become physically intolerable for the locals as adapted as they are. Venkman sighed. This was going to be the hard part. Gregory, can I trust you to do the transport runs in Atmo? Steal only what can be spared. The one-eyed pirate gave a shrug. What goes missing goes missing. Venkman could live with that. You're going to hit. She sent the geolocation data to the pirate, these 15 depots which have been deemed inaccessible, and dropped them at the evac site. One of the Wildcat miners chimed in. Lady, you just said the evac site will be cooking in 13 months. Now, I don't mind a barbecue, but if all that burns, why bother? Because you good old boys have a bit of digging to do. You're going to turn that evac site into the biggest mine you void-sucking bastards have ever dug. I know you have enough blasting charges to level a city, and you're going to do it underground. And you're going to do it fast. Leave your ships for salvage. They're going to cook. Take your drills, mining frames, and charges with you. Terran evac will catch you with defy. Then old One-Eye here and his boys are going to fill it with all the supplies they haven't stolen. Some grumbles later, the miners and the pirates had a rough plan to cooperate, rough in that the miners wanted a cut, and the pirates made few promises that they'd keep. Continuing, Venkman's proposal for the civilians was not complicated. Being closest rotation-wise to the evac, the Sunset clans will arrive at the site in about 8 Terran months. It needs to be dug, stocked, and ready when they arrive. The Sunsets have told me they will have little difficulty arriving in total with as much as they can carry. The Sunrise clans will have to move too fast to carry much more than simple subsistence. They will be traveling light and fast, but they will be damn near starving when they hit the evac point in about 11 months. This means we have 9 months to prep the evac site, and at 11 months, it gets locked down. Oof-guess, that's where you come in. Oops 2 and Oops 3 signaled affirmatively. As the only inorganic assets our little fleet has, you are going to be the doorman, her beings. Once all the Thalori are in the evac shelter, you both are going to find the biggest ice balls you can safely decelerate and park them on the shelter. You will take up station on the surface, retain open comms, go into low-power Dorsey, and await further orders. Once either command arrives or you receive additional instructions, You may reactivate and continue the mission. You are the babysitters. Terran Command arrived in system to detect two active beacons on the surface, two AI beacons. Rear Admiral Jimenez calmed the beacon sources and had two AI responses, short, efficient AI responses. All civilians safe and 6 Allied vessels down. Old Grigori One-Eye's boys didn't make it. The sandstorms blew out their engines, ferrying the last of the supplies to the shelter. The SNR for them located only footprints leading into the boiling desert wastes. They were lost but not forgotten. To this day, the Phi celebrate One-Eye Day. They don an eye patch and pathetically talk with their interpretation of a pirate accent for the man who managed to get his criminal scum to save their race. But they lived by the actions of a bunch of genuine lunatics. They lived. Terra was easily able to fund a new homeworld for the Phi, and they began anew.